we are in week 6, beginning of week 6. So, quick overview what is going on. I posted quiz. Quiz 1 is starting today, right now, not right now. It's when this class ends, it opens at 2 o'clock. This quiz is based on slides already posted before. Basic elements of Android API and introduction to APP architecture. I discussed this very early in the course without slides. It was probably even week 3 or something. Yeah, week 3. And video from week 3 is discussing it during the lesson without slides because I use it architecture guide to directly to discuss it. In week 6, current week, I reposted the same slides and video specifically explaining these slides recorded 1 year ago. I believe it's 1 year ago. Actually, we can check it. Which year? It's not difficult. Yes, 1 year ago, when I was teaching the same course, and this stuff didn't change much. Architecture guide did change, actually significantly, but basic stuff described in these slides didn't change. And I didn't change slides, and I didn't change explanation, obviously, because although details of architecture guide changed, but since it's covering like foundations, that foundations didn't change. Since it was already discussed in class, I don't want to repeat it. If you want to watch it again, here it is. Okay, here's the video. Quiz is based on slides, not on the video. If video says something extra, it is just extra. A quiz is due on midnight before exam, midterm. A midterm is on Thursday, I believe. Yeah, it's on Thursday. I think I put in class plan. It explicitly says on Thursday. So it is due like midnight before Thursday. Obviously, it shouldn't do it last moment. And consider this as a preparation for theoretical part of midterm. You will have multiple attempts for quiz. I believe it is 5. If it's not 5, I will change it. Like during break, it says 3. I will change to 5 just during like break of when we have a break in the lesson. I will change it to 5. 5 is enough to do several attempts. And consider this as studying for theoretical part of the midterm to figure out what is necessary to know. And during theoretical part of the midterm, you'll have similar questions, but on paper. There is a good reason why it is on paper, that it is quite often we get frozen laptops when students take midterm or final exam, and when it happens, it's totally frustrating situation for the student and for me, because I cannot change anything about the quiz while other students are working on it. And it's also not clear what to do for the student who got frozen laptop. So for this reason, it's quizzes take home and 5 attempts. If your laptop gets frozen, okay, it's too bad. You lost 1 attempt, but it's not big deal. You'll have 4 left. And so for this reason, I decided to have quizzes take home, multiple attempts during a week. So if something with your laptop on one day, you figure it out and you use it on another day or something like that. But quiz in midterm and final exam is on paper. In class, I collect papers. And once you return me paper, you can do practical part. Theoretical part is this closed book. So you cannot have laptop, open books, any notes. It is just paper, pen, paper and pencil. There is no like automatic, there is no scanner cards. You just mark question and answer itself by pen. It's easier actually than doing scanner cards when you need to mark the circle, whatever. It's easy to make mistakes this way. Of course, it is graded by hand, but I don't mind. So this is about a quiz. Quiz opens at 2 o'clock. It will be 5 attempts. I will fix it like when we have break during lesson. I will fix it. Today I will provide extra information about data persistence using room. And I will quickly talk about data store. And we will return to this later, data store and room. And I will start discussing adapting to different screen sizes. Adapting to different screen sizes, it is potentially extensive topic and can take weeks to do. But there are reasons to keep it short. I will talk about it. There are reasons to keep it short. One of the reasons is approach promoted by Google is changing. So it's good to know current situation, but maybe in the years when, it's a couple of years when you need it, it will be somewhat different. So for this reason, knowledge of current situation would definitely help in understanding what is in the future, but it's not exact prescription how to do it, essentially. It is exact prescription how to do it now, not when you graduate, because it could be different when you graduate. But it definitely, current knowledge will help you to understand something else. Ideas stay the same, but API changes sometimes quite drastically. So there is example from Google, and I add code to examples that I'm trying to walk through. It is a math quiz or math trainer example. I added code that is changing realignment on the screen when we rotate the screen. And it also reacts on wider screen if we switch like foldable and foldable or use on different device. But this code is just showing idea, but it's not really walk it through. I will finish this in the next lesson. In particular, it's not showing how to do list and details with navigation. It just says you can do that. Of course, it's easy to say you can do that, but the real question is how. So it doesn't show it. So I will add this code and to that, and we will look into this more in the next lesson. We also have one lesson on week 7, so if it takes too long, it can spill there. Also, in the week 7, I can start connecting to internet. I will just see what is better. Idea is to add the server to this program that is just sending problems. So not this server to store your answers, because this is separate issue, because if you store your answers, you need to log in. You need to provide your login and password. It is far more complicated code, right? But in terms of just sending requests and getting list of problems. In this case, you don't need to log in, essentially, because you are not storing any data on the server. Just randomly generated, you get it. And it also simplifies code on the server side and also in Android, because you don't need to deal with login logic. In order to do it, I need to write the code for the server as well, and also for that. So this will probably take time. So it's either this week or this week. And also, definitely, Google provides code for that. They provide code to send data to send requests to the server for the list of images, but image names essentially. Store it also on web, so image names and addresses, so image addresses, I would say, and display those images. So Google provides example for this. That is just one page example, no navigation. quite interesting, reasonable example, so we will look into that. I decided to stop rewriting Google examples because it's too much an effort each time. While still working, it's fine. I will not rewrite it for using dependency injection with Hilt. Although one version that I wrote exists, done 2 years ago, it's still fine. But I just decided that, no, too much. I skipped this in favor of pushing in different example, like math example. And data store, we will use data store to store user preferences. So I plan to cover this in after reading week. And after this, we'll go to store using database, using cloud-based database, Firebase and Firestore on Firebase. So let's return here and see what we have. In the previous lesson, we discussed program here, a math trainer, and I did overview of what is there. I didn't explain every line of code in a GUI part, because in my opinion, it is just a little tedious, but it doesn't have anything beyond what is written there. If it says change color to that, it's just changing color to that. Like, it doesn't have any tricks. It is just long. For this reason, I didn't dive into details of that GUI. And it is self-explanatory. If it says column, it is column. If it says row, it is row. Nothing specific. A product list, this example is provided by, I covered stock data completely. Product accepts details of GUI the same way because it is pretty much self-explanatory as it is written. Product list. This example came from Google, and I talked about it, but we didn't clone it. So this is what we'll do today, clone it and see what is there. No, sorry, product list, it's my example, not from Google. We didn't look into this, we didn't clone it. So let's clone it and see what is there, just in general idea. And I will explain what is behind it. And we will open a similar program of inventory data. I believe it's called inventory data, or inventory data. From Google, and we will clone it and see. It's a similar structure, essentially. The difference that this example, what I created product list, has a rewritten GUI with more stuff in it, and it's also using dependency injection with Hilt. Since today, we will look at additional branch of this code that rearranges screen depending on screen's orientation and sizes. So it is different. It is using different layout for different sizes of the screen, essentially, in different orientations. So it has basic idea in it. It has example, but definitely it's not rewritten for any possible screen orientation, any device. So it has only 2 screen orientations, like phone horizontal and phone vertical. Others are coded in terms of switches, but it just still shows phone. It doesn't do 2 columns, for example, on tablet. This would be cool, actually, to have, but it doesn't do it. Okay? First, let's finish stuff from previous lesson by cloning product list and see what is there. It could be potentially useful in your assignment, but I don't think it is, actually. Because it is quite long GUI. You don't need such long GUI in your code at all. It has more stuff in database. You don't need that much as well. So potentially useful, but not super useful. So this is why I don't want to just dive into too many details of it. Originally I thought it is kind of cool to have one extensive program. What I decided that idea behind it is quite dumb, because who would store product list on device without any option to export it? It has to be on the server. It's not on the device. So essentially, I just keep updating libraries, but I didn't update code. So let's clone it and see what it actually has, because ideas can be borrowed in the program which is not product list, essentially. Like, for example, to-do list, right? Or what is assignment? Shopping list, right? Because product list can be thought as shopping list of the products. Okay, but don't copy, obviously, because in your case it has to be a lot simpler. It doesn't need this stuff. So let's clone it. Clone repository. Okay, here it is. Command V. Cool. Trust project. It has only one branch. I kept it for simplicity, only one. It has things that I didn't explain yet, and potentially we will look into that later. It has, inside of it, it has example how to insert older GUI into newer one, and how to insert older GUI into newer one. It is written with new one, but it has pieces that inserted with views from older one. Okay. So that is, don't do that unless you really have to, essentially. So it's a demo for that piece. It contains a demo for that piece as well. So let's run it. Okay, when I was running previously this device, I changed its orientation. When it starts, similarly to original example from Google, it starts with message, oops, there's nothing in the product list. Because the device is freshly created, it doesn't remember previous runs because it's wiped off. So add element, okay? It has the inputs string, 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 a product name like pencil, for example. A pencil, product price, 52 cents, product quantity in stock, 74. This rating bar is borrowed from views. Remember what we discussed? There is a GUI for composables, done with composables, and a GUI based on views. Views is object-oriented GUI, and idea behind it, you create layouts either with XML or by directly calling code, and that is object-oriented. In order to change anything, about elements, you have elements like rating bar, for example. In order to set rating, you call method set rating. You cannot do it in compose because compose is done on different principles, but we can combine. So this part is picked from views and wrapped into compose. It doesn't exist in compose currently. It is possible to implement it with extra work. It is just a demo how to do it when you borrow from older element of UI into new UI. Okay. Another element which is borrowed from old one, it is this drop-down list. You definitely can do it in compose. We already had examples with that. And it is just a demo that you can do it. Okay. Also, it has time picker, date picker dialog, and time picker dialog. Also, it's a demo how to do it. Yeah, you click on it, it opens date picker dialog. You select it and then put it. It wasn't an original example from Google. I decided that maybe you want it for some reason. For example, like you make to-do list and you want to put deadline into it, right? When it is, or if you do really fancy shopping list, you put date when you want to use the shopping list, whatever, right? Or something like that. And this is time picking dialog. Also, you can do that. And okay, it's supposedly like inventory time and day. Google didn't have it in the example. I added this extra GUI to show how to do it, because it's not obvious at all. Okay, so this was learning information. Okay, how to hide this? Let's hide it. It says required fields. No, it's not hiding the thing. Sometimes it's so annoying and it's not part of the program, it's part of Android, this thing. This just says required fields. Quantity in stock, let's put 56, all right? And when I click save, it adds this to the list. Let's add something else like pen. Product $3.25. Quantity like 75, for example. Rating, here it is, brand new, save. This, it's a demo how to make items selectable in the list if you want. So it is here on purpose as well. Google example didn't have it. Inventory example doesn't have this selection item. It is in case if you want to make items selectable this way. There is an easier way. You can just go to details, which is required, and make some switch in the details, select and select. It's another option. Okay. So this is another approach how to make it selectable. How is it implemented? When you click on the checkbox, it runs update on the database. And since it is linked through flow, it is reflected on the screen. So let me show. In case if you want to do it in assignment, it's not requirement. Make the selection or status done, not done, which is essentially selection. You can do it with switch if you want. You can do it in details screen. So let me show the demo. I need something called like app inspection. App inspection, here it is. So this is yes. Okay. Now our products, and you see now we have two products, and there is a column. This is timestamp, how I store the time, and date. It is in one column. You see, this is column selected. Okay. So if I do live updates of the database, you see, it is on a click, it immediately goes into database. So state is stored in the database. It's not in view model. And from the database, it is reflected to the state back. Okay? So on the click, it sends update to database. And since result of the query is in the flow, it is reflected on the screen from the database. So this is how it is coded. Coding any other way makes it far more complicated. Don't go there. So it's a single database. In this case, it is single source of truth. It is, remember that when we discussed architecture principles, it should be only one owner of the data. Others can duplicate it, but they cannot change it. So in this case, other things are duplicating, like state of the screen, right? But variable. But only thing which is allowed to change the state, actually, it is database. And other things are reflected or duplicated through flow. So it doesn't matter how you implement the GUI. You definitely need to put it into database, because whatever you selected should persist or stay when you close up and open it again. Otherwise, it will not stay selected if it's not stored in the database or in some permanent storage. Okay. It has other options. When you go here, there is the option that I copy-pasted directly from idea from Google. Cell will decrement count of how many. Yeah. And now count is 75 in stock. Cell now it is 74. How does it work? The same way. It sends request to the database to update, and screen is reflected from the using flow. So database query to get data for this particular case is linked to, is triggered by updating the table. So database API will run the query again, and it will insert data into the flow, which is the result of the query. It's not necessarily new data, because it could be different update of the database. But if it is the same data, no harm done, it will be the same stuff on the screen again. It is possible to optimize it, but I'm skipping it. In terms of don't update the screen if it is the same data. I decided to skip it. It's unlikely to be useful anytime soon, so it's possible. There are many things like that. It's just better to not pay attention at this moment, because there are too much of information otherwise. What is this one? Delete it will remove it, and this will edit it. So it has also edit screen. And when it is edit screen, it loads existing data, obviously, for editing the data, including this rating and other things. It is also done with the same. This is done with the query, right? And flow is attached to it. This is also loaded. So essentially, it's a demo of stuff how to deal with. By the way, let's look at navigation. Nope. Main activity contains app root screen, and app root screen contains navigation in it. So let's see. Navigation. In this, In this program, remember that when we discussed navigation, I said that for simplicity, like in Google documentation, I use strings. Because string, in simple case scenario, a string can be used as destination name. When we do so, it's better to store those strings in some constants because we may mistype it. And if we mistype string, it will not define the destination because it has to match. Right? So for these reasons, some Google examples, most of them actually use define constants for those strings. So I'm going into that the same direction, and this program is defining constants for destinations. Okay, like a program edit destination, for example. Program edit destination, route constant, and then title, this is title to display here. Okay. And it is referring to string ID to be retrieved from the resource. Constant use it in the route to retrieve ID. Remember that retrieving data from the routes require key in order to retrieve value. So it is stored together here. And route, and this is route with args also calculated, but it's not constant, but it's calculated variable, not editable val. It's combination of product edit slash product ID. It is route with arguments. So I define it objects that contain constants. So it is harder to make mistake in terms of mistyping this way. It's not my idea. It is a copy-pasted idea from Google example for inventory list. So when we go into navigation, APP root screen, it has also wrapper. It gets navigation controller, and it also has another composable function that is wrapping navigation host. Also, this idea is borrowed. It's not mine. So perhaps maybe we can have something above below, but this particular piece is devoted to replacement stuff. Okay, navigation host. Again, it's not a requirement, but this is how it's done here. So product navigation host. It is just a wrapper around nav host. So I have, in this case, you see I'm referring to the constants stored inside of the objects. So we have product entry, a product list destination, product entry destination, a product details destination, right? And also product edit destination. So there are multiple places. So this is why I say this is a lot longer than it's necessary. Or you can borrow this idea inside of your assignment, but it is unnecessarily complicated, definitely, for your assignment. This is means it is deprecated. Hilt view model is not deprecated itself, but they switch it library, so it is just picking it from older library. So I need to switch library to pick it from the right one. I didn't realize it. I realized it now only. It works exactly the same, but now it belongs to different library. As you see, there is no difference for horizontal, vertical screen because it is implemented with scrolling. If it is horizontal, you will need just to scroll it in order to see stuff. So it is potentially useful, but it's not anything like totally great. So if you browse through the code, you may learn something, but don't invest too much time into it, essentially. Definitely, looking into database is more useful than other things because this is exact learning experience. And part of this thing is never explained so far. I want to, this is the reason why, primary reason why I'm explaining this stuff. It is converters, because we didn't talk about converters at all. Converters of the data stored in the database. For example, you want to store something as enumeration type, but enumeration type can be stored as string, or it could be stored as a number. If you don't specify, it will make own choice, whatever is by default. If you want to overwrite it, you create converter. The same applies to, not the same. The same issue with date. If you want to store date, you can choose how to store it. In this case, you saw this program has a date and time, and I store it as long integer. So there is conversion. Okay. It could be stored differently, right? But this is a choice. So let's look at the converter since this topic was not covered. Conversion in the database. So let's look at product. In the product, I store condition, which is enumeration type. In condition is enumeration type. It's a new like new, very good, good, and acceptable. Okay. So if I do not specify it, it will make a default choice, whatever is coming with Android. I think it is stored as a string by default. Not sure. I think it is stored as a string. It will just use variable name for that. If you want to override it, you don't really have to, but if you want, you need to create conversion between your enumeration type condition and the data that you want to store. Also, you see product, type date, but database does not have a type date that is matching it. SQL does have type date, but it's different date. It's not the same. So there is no exact one-to-one correspondence provided automatically. So even if you use database date, it will not be picked by default. You need to do some conversion. In the data, I created converters class. Notice that there's nothing on the top, no annotation, but for every method of the class, we write add type converter. As you see, it's just a set of functions. A name is not directly important. It is what is important is input type and output type. So those functions will be used by room system to convert, in this case, long to date and date to long. So it can store data as a type understood by the database long. Or condition to int. So I decided to store this as integer, not as a string. And int to condition. So, okay. So you create class. How it is called is not important, but you can call it converters. It doesn't have to be named converters. And you use annotation, like type converter on top of it, and you need to mention it in database. You see type converters, and this is class. Please notice that currently it is not an array, it is only one. So you have to wrap all converters in one class at this moment. It appears like that. Right? So how it is called is not important, you just mentioned it here. But it has to be in one class. Yeah, not too big deal. We can put any number of functions into one class. Also, please notice that this class is a lot simpler than we saw before. right? Because we had a part in it with creating singleton, right? We had abstract, we had, what is called, companion object, get database, companion object that contained get database function, right? And that was returning database object. In this case, we don't. When we use HILT, we don't have to write this code, although we, in abstract class. So this is useful information. When we use HILT, that code, what we had in abstract class as a singleton wrapper to create a get database method, is no longer in this class. But it has to be somewhere. So it is inside of module. But this code is a lot simpler because we don't have a guarantee that it is singleton, because guarantees is provided by HILT itself that it is singleton. So if we go to data module, we will see that code used to create database object is just pasted here. You see room database builder, blah, 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 bug destructive migration build. Okay? We don't have a wrapper to create a singleton because this part guarantees that it is singleton. Okay? In other examples that we saw before, I just did brute force copy paste of this idea from Google examples, but we don't really have to unless we want. We can do this because that companion object with get database and method that has wrapper to guarantee it's only one database object, you saw that, is just guaranteed by this add singleton on top. But what was inside of that method, get database, is just copy pasted here. So we still have to have this code, but you don't need to make that fancy wrapper around it. So this is definitely additional information to what we know about databases. Okay? In your assignment, it's your choice how you do it. You just need to make it work, obviously. So this is a choice, and it's kind of shorter. In math example, I did it brute force by copy-paste. So I like in previous example, to have a smoother transition. Okay, so remember that we had the issue, we discussed the issue that when we save data and go to another screen, right away, we may have issue with failing update. Why? Because if we start task directly from view model, it will, we will start task directly from view model for sure, yes. But if it stays in the scope of view model, this task will be discarded when view model is destroyed. View models can be potentially destroyed when you navigate to another screen from the current screen. So when you go to another screen, current screen view model will be destroyed, potentially, not necessary, but it would be possibly destroyed. And it's not a bug, it's a feature. Why it is not a bug, it's a feature? View models are used for different purposes. One of the purposes is to save data, another purpose is to read data, right? And when you use view model to read the data, and this data is associated with the current screen, you don't need to continue reading the data if you go to another screen. So it makes perfect sense to discard the task. And this may happen if database is not updated yet before you go to another screen. If you just click on the button and navigate later, it will be updated because you are not that quick. But if you click on the button and on the same click, you update the database and go to another screen, could happen, like save and it goes to another screen. You will have two tasks that compete with each other. If it goes to another screen and quick enough to discard view model, the it will discard the task that it tries to update the database, so it will never be updated. It's unlikely, but it happens. It happens if data is on cloud, for sure, and it happened to me. Okay. I was playing with the example, yeah, why it's not updating? Yeah, okay, because view model is discarded. There are multiple ways to deal with it, and one of the ways to deal with it currently, like recently recommended by Google, is to switch scope of the task from view model scope to global scope. Because if you switch scope of the task in the repository, when you navigate from the screen, scope is already global. It will not be discarded when view model is discarded. So in this example is switching scope of every update. In the math example, I switch scope only reload to new screen, because that happens when we navigate. It is artificial demo. It's not necessary, but I just decided to show that it is potential issue. When you create new quiz button, it will run update and go to new quiz page. And if we are not careful, it may go to next page, discard view model that is trying to create a quiz, and it won't be new quiz. Okay. So for this reason, a math trainer example switching task of creating new quiz from view model scope to global scope. So the task will survive even if view model is discarded. This example is switching task for every database update, although it's not necessary. So, like in the repository, we have local product repository, and you see that we have external scope parameter coroutine scope, and second parameter external scope is set to global scope. See? There is no inject in front of constructor here because it's done differently, right? Because in math example, objects are created from using inject specification. In creating of this object is handled inside of module. Okay. It is one of the two that you prefer, and this is shorter. This is, I have a view model, I have a code inside of the model that is calling this constructor. If you have inject in front of constructor, you still need to use module, but not module with provides, but module with binds. So previous example, math example, is using module with binds in it. This is using module with provides. So if we go here, you will see that product repository provides, and we call constructor directly. So it doesn't need to give extra instruction with inject inside of local database class. Could we stick to just one of the variants? Yes, we can. I just showing different ways of doing it. Because we need to know theory. Okay, so what is here? It is how it is done in example with stack demo example. Stack demo example is doing this, but math database is fancier. It is using binds inside of module, and if you do so, you have to do extra. Either do inject in the class itself, or another module that has provides on it, or something like that. Okay. Questions? I think this is all what I wanted to tell about this example. I will turn this off. It's already off. Okay. So it is potentially useful, but not huge. It is just for discussion, for demonstration, but not for reading every line of the code. It does have extra information, for example, converters, other lookup things, but it's not super great. Okay. Continue. So next step. Now I don't think Google example is useful for the database. Definitely, let's see what is inside, but there's no point of discussing this very deep because mass trainer, it is essentially the same stuff with extras. So let's clone that to see what it is doing. So it's not mysterious what is there. It still works, I try it. So where to find it? In week 5, I'd have, not week 5, even week 4, I have a link. I believe it is this one. No, this is just instructions. The one that goes to the course, it is previous one, previous link. Use room for data persistence, this one. It is the course from Google. This one. Read and update data with room. Code lab. Their code labs are not super smart. It is just pick their code, type something, click OK, hooray, it works. But what is useful in the discussion in the beginning of the theory, it is definitely quite useful. Practice may be useful. So this is how it looks like. Essentially, it's the same thing, but they change its styles for it. Okay. Enter this, enter that. There's no enter time and no enter date, no ratings, no condition drop down list. So I added these extras to show how to deal with it, essentially. It displays data like this without, of course, if there's no extras, it's not displayed because it doesn't exist. There's no checkbox here. I added it in case if you want to make items selectable on the list, so you have something that does it in front of you, because this doesn't. Okay. What it has, but my code doesn't do, it has testing cases for the database's code. This is definitely missing from my code. So this is a good idea to know and to look at, that we can test database by creating testing cases as we did before. But in this case, it is Android test. And it requires running emulator. So it's not running inside of your laptop. It is running inside of emulator that runs inside of your laptop. So it requires running Android operating system. We didn't discuss it so far. Perhaps we should. Even before break. Most likely it's a good idea to do it like first lesson after, like last lesson before midterm, something like that. How to create tests for database. Not super useful, but it is potentially useful. We can also create tests for navigation system. In my opinion, especially if you need to rewrite this a lot, your GUI, it's a little waste of time. it makes sense if you have already code that you want to maintain without creating bugs. In this case, you solidify expected behavior in tests. But if you keep changing this a lot, quickly, especially for such thing as GUI, you look at this, you like it, next day you don't like it, you change it, and you rewrite it. In this case, you will have to do tests, rewrite tests as well. So it is questionable. Perhaps it should be done, but it doesn't work for me. Okay. So this is what it has. We can also create tests for view model as well. It's also in some Google examples. And they have implementation of details screen. So yeah, clone it and run it when you want it, essentially. It does work. I tried recently. It does work. I don't think that it will add any extra theory besides what I already discussed today. Because what is contained here is except tests for the database. Definitely tests for database is not in example what I provided. Except that everything is in product list, but product list has more on top of it. Okay, I'm skipping that part, cloning and running it. When you feel in the mood, just do it. That example is using slightly older format for library files, you will see, but it still works. It's not exactly copy-pastable in between, but it's older, it still works. So what is next? We are in week 6 now, and now it is adapt for different screen sizes. This topic is potentially large and fancy, but it doesn't deserve to spend a lot of time on it. The reason why it doesn't deserve to spend a lot of time is that Google is changing this a lot, and Google is changing this quite quickly. So it's a good idea to learn current state, or maybe slightly what was before, so it's not exactly as the latest and greatest, but basic ideas, so it's not mysterious. But investing time into learning every little detail, it's probably not a good idea because it has changed. Google is changing this a lot. One of the things that is about to change is navigation system again, is about to change again. We have a navigation system that currently we use navigation system using strings or constants referring to strings. And Google is already changing this to navigation system using serializable objects instead of strings. So already, so the code with strings in the navigation is kind of already old in use. Okay. But since it is in lots of Google examples, ignoring this is probably a bad idea. Because if we do not have examples like that, it's mysterious how even simple examples from Google work. So for this reason, I use strings, but just directly as strings, kind of the most explicit way. I didn't even create constants in math example. New approach is to use serializable objects for navigation. We definitely have to look at that soon, right? When I learn it. Okay. I need time, okay? Because it's just brand new, okay? So one thing it is that. Another thing which is coming, not besides it, they rewrote navigation system, they call it navigation 3, that likely use something else. So investing time into this part is also kind of questionable. But learning basic ideas really helpful to learn something else later in this area. So navigation 3 system is coming. It is not stable. It's alpha state. But by the time when you graduate, it won't be alpha already. So by the time when you write your project, probably older one will still exist, so you can use, I mean capstone project. Older one will probably exist, but new one will be coming already out, navigation 3 system. Why do we need to learn navigation with serializable objects? Because one of the examples that I want to refer is actually using it. It is an example with Firebase. And I don't want to backport it into older code just to make it easier to understand, because we should have an example for newer code as well. And most likely, I need to create a branch for math example this way, so we can compare. But I want to finish navigation system of math example at least one way. And after this, let's compare, because it's not finished. Otherwise, I will have to work on two versions of code all the time. So it definitely requires discussion, but it is changing. One thing that came up recently, it is additional GUI for tablets in terms of organization of the screen. And it is brand new. It's just half-year-old or something. There is documentation for it, but it's still tricky, because when something is that new, like half-year-old, there are issues with bugs and issues with very little information provided. So I'm a little careful about it. So sticking to trying to get brand new, like several months old, or just doing with Google example, or doing something in between. So I devoted to this couple lessons, but I don't want to spend more, because it's probably good enough to get ideas, and basic ideas, but details could change quite quickly. So this is about adapting for different screen sizes. So example from Google for adapting for different screen sizes does not even use navigation. They do navigation with changing variables. So they use flag variables inside of the code. They have they show different screens depending on what values they assign to other variables. So the work is not as a flag, but depending if it is null, not null, you show something, right? And that example doesn't even have a navigator in it or anything like this. It's definitely not a way to go. But that example is not a waste. It's not a waste in terms that they show GUI elements like toolbars, toolbar at the bottom, rail navigation at the left, drawer at the left. So without such example, it's mysterious how to use it. So that example is useful in terms of copy-pasting GUI elements, at least that. Definitely doing navigation with assigning variables without any navigation system, it's not a way to do it. Although they do it, but I don't know why, just not a way. Okay. Definitely there's no history with going back. Then that example has list and details. And they do it with flipping variables, to what to show, essentially. Previously, Google website that has developerandroid.com has an article how to implement list and details using navigation system. I read it about a year ago or so. My impression was they explain hack, which is really questionable. It's definitely hack, and it won't work in general cases. Like, most likely it will break at some combinations in some situations. And they removed this article. It doesn't even exist there. So they probably realized that it's not such a great thing. So currently, how to use list and details, it's, in my opinion, it's not difficult. It is brute force. But I told you that hacks are possible, and it's possible to do. And one of the things I will show, it's just not necessary description or prescription how to do it. It just works. Okay? But it's not something great. In the light that they adding new UI specifically for large screens, maybe investing too much time into doing that, or like having an assignment in it, it's too much. Okay? So I will have an example, I will explain it. What's usefulness is at the level of getting basic idea, not details. Okay? So where does this information coming from? So adapt for different screen sizes. This is unit, part of the unit, adaptive layouts. They discuss it. Then they discuss it, introduction to reply app. What is reply app? It's called reply because it is imitation of emails. But what they do, it is imitation of the look of email system. It's not even an imitation of the code. Any kind of email system needs to deal with loading data from a server. If you do load data from the server, you need to deal with delays. So you'll have a flows, you will have a task executed in view models to deal launch concurrent tasks is executed in view model to deal with delays, update delays, retrieving data delays. They don't have it. So they imitate just GUI. And their data is also hard-coded because they don't have this code dealing with details, so they had to hard-code GUI, hard-code all emails. So it is useful in terms of looking at the GUI code, but not anything else. It is still useful, it's not waste, but it is limited. So GUI code is useful. Navigation code is not. Although they use it for navigation, but it's not. So, code lab. What is also useful is theory. Theory for screen sizes. This is useful. So they say it's download code, and this is how it would look like on tablet. Okay. I use a similar idea in my code. So they discuss it, their own code, and I will just show it directly in mine. And they say, if we rotate the screen, it shows, now toolbar is on the left, and the list. I don't have like 2 columns yet in my code. It is postponed until tomorrow. Not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And this is pretty much it. Build an app with adaptive layout. I think we need to go this one. Build an adaptive app with dynamic navigation. This one is more useful. It is one step before. This is actually dealing with the code. So this contains theory. Okay, just a quick repetition what it is, how it looks like. And useful stuff comes here. Here it is. In order to run application on different devices, we can definitely create different virtual devices. Google is, for this lab, is using emulator, like virtual device, which is designed specifically to test on different screen sizes. So you are not running different virtual devices. You run one where you can change screen sizes. So it's a little optimization in terms of testing. It is still experimental, and there are some issues with it. But I use it like for probably already 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row. And every year it's more stable, more useful. Previously it was always crashing, stuff disappearing from the screen, almost not useful. But now it is quite nice. So in order to test applications for different screen sizes, definitely we can use brute force, create different devices for different screen sizes, right? Or create a resizable device, which is what they tell. Okay. And let's do it together. Okay. So it doesn't make sense for product list, right? Because product list behaves exactly the same for any device. We need some app that behaves differently for different screen sizes. Right? So for this reason, let's pick their code for their what's this called? Get solution code for their reply code. You see? Reply app. Right? So I'm going to already solution code to check or play with the code with different screen sizes. How to run emulator, specifically design it for different screen sizes. For testing codes for different screen sizes. Okay, so I copied this. Take Command C. Now I will close product list because not useful for this particular purpose. Then I go to clone repository and Command V. Basic Android Kotlin Compose training reply app. So it's already solution clone. Trust project. I already created this device before, so I will delete it to show how it was created. Do not do it because this will take a long time. We already figured it out. This is previously in class that this potentially can take a long time. So close it. It does work. I tried this recently. All right. Next, let's open devices, device manager. I already have resizable experimental. This is what we will create. So I delete this one. Right? And I click plus. Plus, add new device, create virtual device. Then I go to, does it matter what? Phone, yeah, phone, resizable experimental, this one. Okay, and I click it next. After this, does it matter what is selected? I selected the latest 36.1. It is Google API, no other choice. And if it's not having star, in your case it won't because you didn't download it yet, you need to click download, otherwise you will not be able to click finish. So you need to download this device. By clicking download this piece, in your case it's not downloaded. Download it, and after this you can select it and click finish. Okay, please do that. Otherwise we cannot run on different devices. Okay? As you already saw, I added tablet devices just to see the brute force on tablet. I added medium tablet and I added Google tab, what is it called, Pixel tablet, which appears works the same. At least on my code, it does the same. Before the break, we installed this device that is in Device Manager, which is a resizable experimental. this one. If you want to, later, you can add medium tablet or pixel tablet just to see how it runs on tablet with different orientations. This is what I was playing with before. If you use the same image, you don't need to download it again, because it will be quick. You just need to select the same thing that is already downloaded. So let's run it not on medium phone, but on this device. So I need to select it, a resizable experimental, and run. So first, this is the first boot, so it will take a while to boot it. And I will click on running devices to see what is going on. So it's connecting to emulator. Since it's first boot, it is slower. So by default, it will start with mode, which is phone, vertical. So where is the selection? It is here, I believe. Display mode, yes. You see, phone, foldable, and tablet. If you select foldable, it's not just rotation, it can also option to fold and fold. Currently, it's a phone. So for the phone, it displays this navigation bar, it's nav bar at the bottom, and list. Okay, and it's list and details. When you click on it, it goes to details. They implement this logic, navigation logic, by just flipping variables and making decision based on the values of variables. Similarly to a simplest example for paper, rock, or scissors, because I had paper, rock, or scissors in two variants, one with navigation, one without it. In that case, I had just one variable that I was flipping, which was screen ID, essentially. They have more because they have more logic into flipping variables because they have more screens. Okay. And back button. If we rotate the screen, so this is rotation, they decided to show navigation drawer, which is open it, and it's not open full scale, and two columns where we have list and details. So when we click on it, it's changing details. Okay. So it's definitely your choice how you implement this one. What you want to show on different screens, but definitely you have to write code separately for it. You can reuse view models, you can reuse data access layer, obviously, but arrangement on the screen is different code. You definitely reuse these items because you don't need to write this code separately. You reuse this list, but you need to write code to combine it and to display this part. So it is not super smart, but it's definitely tedious to look through how to arrange this GUI. Okay. So when we rotate this part again, we are back to it. And side effect of navigation this way, that back button will just kill the program because there is no navigation stack. Back button is popping navigation stack, so it will just kill the program because there is no navigation stack. It's only one item. So the neat way to do it is with navigation system, obviously. When you can click back, it will go back. So it will work as this back button. Right? But in this case, back button is doing back, but not this one. This will kill the program. So essentially, you need to have some information from the operating system what kind of screen dimensions we have. Okay. It is included in one object that contains two other objects inside for width and for height. It has constants to do the switch. So potentially you, in theory, you have 3 constants for horizontal dimensions and 3 constants for vertical dimensions. So potentially it is 9 combinations, but it's not 9, it is less, because we will not have a device which is square like a phone width, right? Because this is unlikely. So in this case, maybe less. But in my example, I decided, okay, let's stick to 4. 2 orientation of tablets, 2 orientation of phone. But potentially you can have more combinations, because you make decision based on 2 variables. One variable it is for width, one for height. And each of these 2 variables can have potentially 3 values, 3 different values. So 9 combinations. Not all of them are possible, but 9 combinations. So let's flip it to another. So it was phone. Let's flip it to tablet, for example. Okay, so it is for tablet. So by default, tablet goes to horizontal. So for the tablet, they decided to show the same thing, right? It is exactly the same thing as for phone horizontal. Okay, it's like a phone horizontal. And let's rotate it. But this is definitely different, right? Because this is rail, not navigation bar at the bottom, and one list, not list and details. Okay? It works as list details, but not on the same screen. It's like a phone vertical, right? This is for tablet, and they have also for foldable. Okay. For foldable. Foldable can be also in 2 orientations. So this, and let's rotate it. Okay, let's rotate it again. Okay, so this is again navigation drawer always open, and 2 columns as list and details. Let's close this foldable, because also it can be closed as phone or half open. I'm not sure what we'll do with this half phone, because this program does not support it. So let's see. It just ignored it at half open. It is just taking it as the same. So let's close it, and it will behave like a phone if we do. We need to flip it so it is like a phone. And when we rotate this one, so it behaves like a, no, this is not like a phone, right? Because this is, perhaps it's slightly wider than phone in their logic. So it behaves like a vertical tablet. So altogether, they have only 3 options, as you see, right? They have only 3 options in this program, and this program makes decision only on the width. It's not considering height. How do I know? I open the code. Okay, so they in the code they retrieved width information for the screen, and width information is just a variable that can take 3 values based on screen sizes. Okay, compact, medium, and extended. And based on this compact, medium, and extended, they decided to do 3 screen layouts, essentially. And also, it's 3 screen layouts, and also depending on if it is list on details or what we see on the screen at this moment. So for each destination, potentially you have 3 options. It's a lot of code. It's 3 times more, right? What if we have more destinations? What if we have more different screen size options that we want to consider? So it's lots of extra GUI code in order to make it really flexible for different devices. Okay. So they cut corners by considering only 3 widths, and height is not even in the picture. So this is why they have 3 layouts. For different destinations, they have 3 layouts, but it's a lot of code because We have different navigation destinations. Potentially, they thought that they simplified code by not using navigation system at all. They used variable values in order to do navigation. No, it's not. They didn't. It's harder to follow. Whoever made it, such code made it actually harder to deal with it. Because imagine that you have more than this number of screens. Implementing this with just flipping variable values, it's a nightmare. Plus, it's always this is hack that it's not real approach. So this will just kill the program. It's not actually going back. Right. So although it is definitely a place to look at just how they display stuff on the screen, how to use toolbar, for example, how to use rail. This is called rail, this one. How to use drawer. They didn't show how to open and close it, but they have always open drawer. So at least for that, it's definitely useful. Otherwise, it's Okay. And also, it is useful code to play with what's called resizable emulator. So you know how to deal with it. So when you write your own code that has different screen sizes, you can play with your code this way. Okay. Theory before it becomes tedious, it is quite small actually. And it is easier to explain it on small examples than this. Okay. So let me open smaller code to explain this one. Okay. So I will stop this one, and I will open code for math example. Exactly as we left it last time. So you don't need to reclone it. If you reclone it, cool. If you don't, you can just do what I wanted to show. So I will close this one, and I will open math example as it was left last time. Math trainer example. Math trainer example. Okay. If you click this one, it will not show an extra remote database branch because we didn't update it. Okay. We need to run update. How to run update? Let's find out. Update project, here it is. Okay. You can select merge, but it will not merge anything, I believe, because it is exactly the same code. All right. When you did so, you will see extra commit on top with additional branch, adaptive to screens. Okay. And this branch is not main. This code is not checked out. In order to see it, you need to check out this branch, adaptive to screens, or select it as here in remote adaptive to screens checkout. Okay. All right. So this is what I do. Adaptive to screens checkout. We need to sync it because it's using one extra library, specifically for that feature to read screen sizes from operating system. Okay. So sync now. What I'm explaining, it's a basic feature. There are more into it. There are more ways to adapt. It is just brute force approach. I use it in the program that comes from Google. Okay, there are fancier ways to deal with it. So it is probably enough for introduction. All right. So it does have extra library. So let's click on this and see what is updated. In lib versions tom.ml, this is just version of the library. So let me rotate this thing and Okay, and I will close this one. It is a version of the library that I added. This library can be added automatically when you run the code. It will be in red. You select it, and it will ask, do you need to add this library? You say yes, and it will be added. So this is what happened to me. I started to type code, and it added the library by asking. It was in red. I moved mouse on top of it, say, do you want to add this library? It's required for it. And I said, yeah, OK. And this is what it happened. And it added this library, this Material 3 Windows size class library. Okay. And this one. And when it added this part, it also was included here. Material 3 Windows size, here it is, Material 3 Windows size class library. Okay. So I need to make decision based on the screen size and hook up for that information, like hook for this information is inside of activity, because it needs information about activity, from activity, okay? So let's go to activity and see how this information is retrieved. We call calculate Windows size class function that came from that library. You see, Windows size class, calculate Windows size class. And it gives us Windows size type Windows size class. This Windows size, I assign this to variable, contains two other variables inside: Windows width size class and height size class that give us information about width and height. Each of them can have 3 values depending on screen sizes. By looking at this, we can figure out about what kind of size of the screen we have. So we decide to to display things. So let's scroll this. We decide what to display. Let's find information about it. It's probably wrong. So let's see. Oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. All right. A width, variable for the width can have 3 values: compact, medium, and expanded. Compact, for the width, is phone. Surprisingly, for the phone that we use, emulator, height is expanded. So it is treated as the same as tablet length. Okay. So this is the same as like tablet length for that. Surprisingly, but this is how it works. Okay. For medium, which is vertical tablet or vertical unfoldable, or expanded, this is foldable horizontal and tablet horizontal. What they didn't tell is that for our phone emulators what we use, if it is horizontal, it will be also here. This is how I got caught yesterday, and I spent hours to figure out what was going on. Okay, so the emulator that we have, a medium phone, when it is horizontal, the width for it is extended. I don't know who made this decision, but this is how it works. And it's destroyed several hours for me to figure out what is going on. Okay. Next, for the height, compact, it is the phone horizontal. Medium, it says phone vertical. No, not the phone that we use. Okay, it is extended. For the phone emulators that we use, medium phone, it is extended. So it's not really matching. But it gives us a idea that we have 3 of them. Or tablet vertical. So this, for the phone, it's not necessarily the case. For the emulators that we will use, it is extended. Length, height will be extended, not medium. And this caught me yesterday. Okay. It actually took a couple hours to figure out why it doesn't work. Okay. Not like just sitting and staring. I was frustrated, and I took a break, returning back. Okay, let's print variable values and to figure out what is going on, because otherwise it's not clear. So in my code, I print variable values to know what is going on in order to debug. So this was debugging information for window size and window height. When I was rotating the screen, it was printing out. And it goes into cat. Logs are going to cat, and you need to select the device that is printing these logs. And I wrote function myself to select different layouts based on that. Because potentially it's 9 combinations, right? But you don't, one of these is impossible, like compact size and compact height, small square, right? Maybe it's possible, but not in any obvious sense. And writing layouts for 9 combinations too much, so I decided, okay, maybe 4, it's already a lot. Okay, so I wrote function to figure it out what layout I want to use. And this function is returning type screen variant. And this type I defined myself. So this is screen variant. Okay. I decided to use enumeration type, screen variant, that has constant, phone vertical, phone horizontal, tablet vertical, and tablet horizontal. Based on these 2 variables, 3 values in each, I figured out logic that makes sense. Okay, in terms of these 4 layouts. Okay, so again, this is trial and error and just pulling hair out when it doesn't work. So if Windows width is compact, it's definitely phone vertical. There is no other way. Okay, because this is only you can only have maybe some exotic device, but in simple devices, if phone width is compact, it's phone vertical, no other choice. So it is this one, phone vertical. If Windows size is medium, depending on the height, I'm making decision. If it is compact, it could be some phone vertical, but not the one that we use, but some smaller phone. Otherwise, I'm using layout for tablet vertical. Wide enough, so I create tablet vertical layout for that. Okay. Otherwise, it means not compact, not medium. It is extended. If height is extended, but width compact, it could be the phone emulator that we use, because it has extended length, but compact width. This one, right? So this one, it's phone horizontal, because width is long, height is compact, but width is extended. Okay, and when it is height is medium, but width is extended, I decided that it is tablet horizontal because it's long horizontally and medium size vertically. Looks logical, right? And if it is width is extended, width is extended, but height is no. And height is extended. No, what is that? Width is extended, and height is extended. I decided that very wide and very tall, it doesn't matter, it's square, so I will do it tablet vertical. Although tablet horizontal would work as well, because it is large square, essentially. Who knows what it is? Okay. It's an unlikely combination, probably. Okay. So this is probably unlikely. So if it is tablet horizontal, it would work as well. So since you saw those printouts, logs go here. So let's see. Okay. So I will run on this experimental to see these printouts. Log D shows debug layout, and in order to see it, you need to select emulator. And this, it is tag, you type it here, so it will print only things that are tagged this way. So you don't see other things, which is convenient. Currently, it is not what is here. I'm just looking what is printing it. To see less of printouts, I use tag to filter it here. Main activity, so I do main activity. Okay. So what do I see here? This is, let's flip to phone first. Oh, yeah, flip to phone. You can clear this. Clear logout. So I will stop it and run it again. Okay. Window width is compact. Window height is expanded. It's phone vertical. Okay. This is how I debugged it, essentially. Let's rotate this one. Width is expanded. Height is compact. So phone horizontal. Looks logical, right? Okay. So let's rotate it back. And now I'm flipping directly to tablet first, because not dealing with foldable. So tablet. And again, using that logic combination with when inside of when, like just plain of that. What does it show now? This is definitely tablet horizontal, right? So a window width is expanded. Window height is medium. Logically, tablet horizontal. Okay. And now let's rotate. Width is medium. Height is expanded. Tablet vertical. Logically, it's you selected tablet. Okay. And last one, foldable. Now it is foldable and it is vertical, I believe. And it is medium, tablet vertical. Okay, reasonable. When it is rotated, it will be longer in horizontal direction. So let's rotate. It is longer in horizontal direction, so I choose tablet horizontal. I didn't create variables for foldable to flip it. It's already a lot layouts. Right? If we fold it, close it, we need to refresh it. You see it goes as phone vertical, compact medium. This is where medium is coming from. For smaller phone or foldable. Okay, so this is where I get phone vertical. And when I rotate it, it will be phone horizontal. Medium compact. So my switch for medium compact and compact medium to phone horizontal and phone vertical, it is not the phone that we use, but it is for foldable, actually. I just didn't want to create another layout for it. Okay. As you see, there is no layouts for home screen. Home screen is just the same layout, just scroll it. Okay. I decided that, okay, let's make at least once a walk. Okay. So let's see what happens. This is a variable, just one variable, not two anymore, because it's an enumeration type variable. And I pass it to my app root screen. So I will close this one. Okay. And I pass it to app root screen. Now app root screen expects one variable. Okay, this one, this parameter. It's important not to do a logic here before we do navigation host. Why? The reason why, because navigation host is storing what is current page. If we do if before navigation host, it will be another navigation host. You will lose the information what is current page. You will also lose history. So screen choosing logic has to be inside of navigation host. There is no way around if you want to use it. So I did it only for one piece to show idea at this moment. I did it for other things. I just stretch it screen or scroll it. I did it for problem item, this one. So I did rearrangement for this one. You see, if it is phone horizontal, I'm calling phone horizontal. Otherwise, it is just phone vertical. So I was too lazy yesterday because it was 11 p.m. already. Okay, time to wrap up. And so let's do phone rotate. And it is definitely different navigation, right? Because it's rail on the left. And different arrangement of the screen. Okay, this is definitely issue. You see, it's it needs to be adjusted to proper height, proper width. Right, this is issue. Perhaps something too wide, so we need to compact. This button definitely works, although it looks ugly, right? It does navigation here. It's fine. This submit works. This goes to first page. This goes to list. This probably is a bad idea to redo it to make two columns, because this is kind of to stretch it ugly. If this list is done in two columns, this will be, this is called lazy grid. This is lazy list. If it is horizontal, it will be called lazy row. If we have a columns, it is called lazy grid. It is different API call. Idea is similar. You need to specify number of columns, and it will make it scrollable. And if you need to specify scroll directions, by default it's vertical. Okay. So it's not a lot, but it is potentially extra work. Okay, it's probably an hour of work. So later, okay. It definitely goes back to home. This is scrollable. And this is how it looks on foldable. If we choose different device, like a phone, it will work for phone, horizontal, vertical. There is no other variants. It's only here. If we want to have other variants, we do when and other options. Because it is either phone horizontal, everything else is considered wide enough, it will fit into widths. At this moment, I decided not to go fancy. There is no list and details at this moment, and list and details could make sense not in phone horizontal, because in phone horizontal list and details, this one, this is already wide enough, right? But for tablet, it could make sense, because tablet is potentially tall enough to put this in one column. And list in the first column. So we'll have a list clickable, and it will show details. So it would be in tablet, not in phone horizontal, because this is already tall enough, and if it is done this way, there's no space for it. Unless we do scrollable, and if it is scrollable, there's no point. It's already ugly. So if we want list and details, it should be tablet option and list and details. I will look into that. It appears to me it can be done really brute force without fancy GUI. But first impression can be very wrong in programming. You probably learned it before, right? When it appears like it is easy, it's not necessarily easy. It's something surprising may come up immediately when you just start doing it, or within first half an hour. So this is why I just postponed it till tonight, because it was already late yesterday, to do list and details. It's definitely for tablet option, not for phone, because there's no space to put list and details. It's already taken by details. But for tablet, it's enough space. So if we go to tablet, okay, tablet like this, right? It's enough space to do list and details, right? Especially if it's not enough space here, tablet horizontal definitely will have it. List and details, right? Okay, so I will look into that. I will try to do it brute force without fancy GUI, and if it works, you will know about it. If it doesn't, you will also know about it. Okay. Brute force is just to create an extra switch and use two view models, two view models, and two screen layouts, obviously, inside of one coming from list, one coming from details. And with extra feature to make item which is clicked selected. It can be done by popping up panel. Remember how we did how we had popped up card in rock paper scissors? When we selected card in the example, it was kind of, I changed it height so it looks like it's take it out. Or we can just add frame to it. That will make it look like it's selected, another option. All right? So this is a basic idea. There is also extra reading, if you care, to refine it, because it's not just decision for entire layout of the screen. You can pass information further down the chain, and different items can be displayed differently. For example, you can pass this information down the stream here and just specify if screen is too wide, like this, and item looks ugly when it is stretched too much. You just limit the size of it. It's another option to deal with it. Okay. So it's not going to entire screen, because this is kind of ugly, right? So it's not just doing one switch. It's probably not enough in reality life scenario, but it's a starting point, definitely. In real life scenario, even if you don't want to do details on column, this is kind of quite ugly to stretch, right? So we can limit size based on, if it is too long, don't stretch it or something like that. Or stretch it, but only for 1/3 of the screen in the middle. Right? Yeah, or half of the screen, but center it in the middle, right? This would not make it such ugly stretch. Okay, questions?